right, everyone, welcome in to another episode of the Mark Lesko podcast, Mark and Austin Show. Actually doing an interview today. Cunningham of Lock Haven Football, formerly of Bald Eagle area. It's good to have him on. We've been trying to get this done for a while, but it's finally good to have him on. Kyler, welcome in.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we just want to kind of talk your career a little bit. You did play at Bald Eagle, where I played. And when it comes to Bald Eagle football, man, there's a lot of rich history. A lot of guys that played there come back to coach, like your
Right.
coach, Coach Nagel. My uncle Brad Smith played there. He was really good. Played under Galen Stoker, and he was basically the. I don't know if you know Galen Stoker, Kyler,
Nah,
but he's basically like the Joe Paterno of local high school football. He's a legend. He's one of the names that's recognized. He coached my junior year, I think, was his last year. But Kyler, I don't think a lot of guys from Bald Eagle go on to play college football, and you were one of those guys. So, well, first of all, just give us a little bit of your background. When you first started playing football, did you always want to play in college?
nah. I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then eighth grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel, and we had this thing. I knew he applied for the job, and he's like, "Hey, I got the job." And I was just like, "All right, I'll play football for you." Came out for junior high in eighth grade. It was a rough first week. I didn't know how I felt about it, and then first scrimmage we played out to, I did pretty good, and that was when I started really liking football. And then from there, it just took off.
Wow, really? Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know because I thought you always played football, but that's interesting.
Started in eighth grade.
So when he became the head coach, that's when
Yep.
okay,
Yeah,
because
because he was at State High previously.
yep, and he was okay because he was my D coordinator in my senior year, and then I think after that is when he went to State High and stuff like that. Okay, that's interesting. So pretty much from there you wanted to play college, like you wanted to play college football then, like you wanted to make a
Yeah,
career out of it.
I just had I had a pretty good year in eighth grade. Just my first year, just like having fun with it. Like I really fell in love with the game. Like that's what I mean by good year. But then I went to wrestling in eighth grade, and I was just like, couldn't stop thinking about football. I knew all my teammates were in the weight room, so I ended up quitting wrestling. And then I just started. That was when I just started like grinding, really focusing on football. And then ninth grade, loved it even more, and then it just became passion. Like that was just my sport. Just made
Awesome.
the transition from baseball to football from
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I can certainly understand that, man. Football is, I think it's the best sport in the world, and
Right.
once you get hooked, that's a good feeling for sure. So, do you think? I mean, obviously, Jesse is your uncle, and do you think Bald Eagle prepared you well enough to play college football?
Oh,
The program.
no, no doubt. No, Coach Nagel was my linebacker coach. He's my uncle too. So like, I was always watching film with him, watching film on my own, and he held me to a high standard that I needed to be held to. Because truthfully, I'm limited athletically, so I needed to be advanced mentally. So when I was on the field, it was just like I had to have that coach's mentality where I know what you're running every single time you like whatever formation you're in, I know what's coming. Like I know how many times you pass out of this formation, how many times you run out of it. And that was just the standard that I was held to under Coach Nagel. And he's a great defensive mindset. He knows what he's doing. I was just on the phone with him last night, and he was talking about he's like our defense is a do your job type defense, and if one person doesn't do their job, it's like we're screwed. So that really prepares you for college because college is the same way. Because with a lot of high schools, you just have a lot of players that just go out and play football. But at Bald Eagle, it's different. You have responsibility every single play, and you got to know what's coming at you every single play.
Yeah, Jesse's definitely done a great job since he's been at Bald Eagle. You guys were in the state semifinals, right?
Yep, my junior year.
and then you were district champions. I don't think he's had a losing season. Has he had a losing season since he started?
Yeah, he did. My senior season, it was a
Well,
losing season.
COVID. Yep.
Yeah, the COVID year. We were 2-6, lost a lot of close games. It was just ugly.
Well,
But
for Penn State, we didn't count that season on the podcast, so
yeah,
we don't have to count that one. That was a really weird, rough year for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, he's had a lot of success at Bald Eagle, and he's just been consistent. And you saying that makes complete sense. I mean, that's kind of like the Bill Belichick method. You know, just do your job. And what you said about yourself, Austin, I'm sure you would agree with this. That's kind of the way Michael Motti was. Michael Motti was obviously he was a great athlete, but his mind and his instincts, I think, made him that much better. And I think that's kind of the comparison for you, Kyler, is Mike Motti. I mean, he knew everything about everything that was going on.
right.
You know, I mean, he knew where every play was going, and that's why he was one of the best. So, Kyler, you played in the what is it called again? The Lesser Lumber Classic.
Yeah, I played in the East West All Star game,
Okay,
and after that, I played in the Lesser Lumber game.
Lesser Lumber, and I think my uncle Brad he played in the Lesser Lumber too. I think.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
Now the East West is that the Big 33?
No, so there's the Big 33, and then there's the East West game. So
Okay,
it's put in for the Big 33, but for the guys that, you know, don't aren't the elite 33 in Pennsylvania are put in the East West game, which is
right.
still it was an honor to play in that game.
Absolutely, yeah, that's awesome. How did you like that? How did you like playing in those games?
I love them, honestly. It's just so when I got to I was a little bit skeptical at first about both of them because you're playing with guys from all sorts of different areas that come from different backgrounds. So luckily, Coach Nagel was asked to be the defensive coordinator for the East West game. So I was in there with him, and like he really helped me at first, and it was just like off the bat, like you find out who the leaders are in the locker room. So you just have to like get to like connect with the guys that are like going to different schools and just figure out how to play football with them in the matter of 4 practices because that's what you get. You get 4 practices. So it's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun getting to meet new people and getting to play with different elite athletes.
Yeah, I was gonna say with going to Lock Haven, I'm sure it's the same thing. You know, you're
Yeah,
playing with people from everywhere and um, all types of different backgrounds. I mean, Bald
right.
Eagle, pretty much the same. You know, we're pretty much all from the same area
Yeah.
generally. So yeah, I'm sure that was interesting. Now, were you were you trying to play in like an all-star game or two? Was that a goal of yours, or was it just you were just doing your thing?
So like you go into your senior year like this is it, got a ball out. And Coach Nagel and I we talked about like, hey, if you play super super good this year, you could have an opportunity to play in the Big 33 game, which like you strive for that. Every senior does. Like every senior has that opportunity. But I did have a great senior season, but you have to be absolutely elite to play in that game. So yeah, I would say that was a goal of mine to make those All-Star games because I felt like I was good enough to be able to play in those All-Star games.
Good. That's a good mindset to have. I remember when I was at Ohio State football camp. I think it was going to my junior year. This is like 2009. We went to the Horseshoe and watched. It was Ohio versus Pennsylvania. It was some sort of all star game. It might have been like the one you were in,
Right.
but it was crazy. Like the athletes I saw, it was just unbelievable. But it was really cool to watch. Um, Kyler, just to kind of dive more into, going to college and playing football in college. How many of your teammates, just when you were there, how many of your teammates went on to play college football? I think I remember you mentioning one of your teammates tried to walk on at Penn State. I mean, was it common for you guys to go on and play college football?
Um, I was so in my class, my senior year, there was two of us, me and another lineman, and he played one season at Lock Haven, and he ended up just deciding not to play football anymore, wanted to focus on school and go get a job, which is respectable
Yeah.
because it's not easy.
No.
And the class ahead of me, Caden Bittinger is currently a wide receiver here, and we had two other linemen going to play at Grove City. So, I mean, when you look at how talented that class was, really, like, not many guys do go to play college football.
Yeah.
Typically, you have Coach Nagel has his 1 to 2 guys every single year, and that's really it. But for him to have 3+, that's a big class for him to send
Yeah.
into the college football world.
I feel like we always talk about this on the show too, where we talk about that gap difference between high school and college, and I think that kind of exemplifies that notion of just that talent differential and how actually difficult it is to make that leap. So if I could just asking a quick question,
Yeah.
what do you think has been the biggest transition between your experience in high school to your experience now at Lock Haven playing football?
Well, at first, I was recruited here under Coach Kelling, and I ended up quitting under Coach Kelling. I hated it here. It was really hard for me. I thought coming in, I was like, I'm coming in on scholarship. Like, I'm coming in and I'm coming to start. Kid in front of me was an absolute dude. Like, he's a freak. Transferred out to a Division I school, and just absolute stud. And I ended up, weeks go by, got through camp, and I was really just not enjoying football. I couldn't understand the playbook. Like, that's the biggest jump in my opinion, is the playbook. Because, you're in high school and you play, your three big coverages. You're playing cover 1, cover 2, cover 3. Then you go to college and it's like you've got anywhere from like 3 to 6 different coverages you're in. And so many different pressures, so many different stunts up front, so many different fronts. So I'd say definitely the playbook is a lot more broad. And when it comes to having a broad playbook, there's also high expectations because you're playing at this level. And it's grown men football. Like, you don't realize how physical college football is until you truly play a full game. And it's hard to walk the day after. In high school, you get up the next morning. But when it comes to playing college football, it's tough to get up the next day.
See, everybody, and that's coming from a young guy, and you're talking to Mark and I, us 30 plus year olds at this point, about getting up after getting banged around or hard workouts or whatever anymore. We're a little bit past our prime, and I think that also kind of goes to show you. I mean, even at a place like Penn State, big time Division I, we get questions all the time about, why isn't this guy doing something? Why isn't that? He was this all-world recruit, top 50 guy, and exactly like you said, it's not that they don't have the physical attributes to do it. They do. It's that mental side. It's getting the playbook. It's understanding responsibilities, because the complexity, it just gets ratcheted up like not a magnitude, many magnitudes, when you take that ascension into the college ranks. How would you say your transition has been, as far as just like the social aspect of college, the other side away from football, and then the balancing act between academics, football, all that kind of stuff?
So it's funny you brought up balance, because we talk about trying to have balance all the time, but really our balance is school and football. That's what we balance. And your friends are your teammates. You have like your typical 2 or 3 friends outside of football that you have classes with, but like the only time you see them is when you're in class. Outside of that, your friends are your teammates. At first, it was really tough for me because I'm an early childhood education major. So every single person in my majority of my major is females. So it's hard for me to find like a couple guys to like hang out with, be friends with. But, as years go on, you start to take other classes and you find other friends that are males in your major. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So the balance is not necessarily easy, but it is simple. It's really two things. really academics and football. And I think that really kind of also shows something else that we talked about, especially with NIL and kind of how Mark and I have been pretty on board with it from the get go, because it really is a huge time commitment, and it really is a lot of there's a lot of sacrifice that goes along with it.
Right.
As far as there's a lot of things you can't really do outside of football and making sure you're getting your school stuff done. There's just not a lot of time left, and obviously you got to be sleeping to make sure you're recovering from all your workouts or your games or whatever. And you're getting up early and having practices, or you're in recovery in the recovery room or what have you. There's always something else to do on the list, it seems. But yeah, definitely love that. Those are great to get that insight. Definitely appreciate that for sure.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, Kyler, I'm just playing your huddle here in the background. You can't see it, but we're just trying to get a little more interactive stuff here when we're doing interviews. But yeah, man, Austin, thank you for diving into the transition into college. So Kyler, like, how have you liked it overall, man? I mean, that's why I asked you about your teammates and stuff going on to play in college. It doesn't happen, and you really don't have, and it's no fault of anyone else of anyone else's, but you don't have a lot of people that you can kind of talk to about. I'm going to play college football. I'm from Bald Eagle. So how's that been? I mean, you're kind of really setting a standard there by doing that, which is great.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, at first it was a struggle. Like under Coach Kelling, it was a completely different culture, just different players here, talented players, but just it was a different mentality in that era. And then after that season, Coach Kelling resigned or got fired. I don't know the full story to that, but then in the spring, I went through Christmas break and I was just feeling like I missed football. I missed playing football, and I saw Coach Mulrooney got hired, so I shot him a DM on Twitter, and he's like, heck yeah, man, come in my office tomorrow, let's meet. So I went to his office, met him. He's like, I'll take you. He's like, lift starts tomorrow. So I started lift, and then spring ball started the week after that, and then from there it just took off. And playing for Coach Mulrooney, I really do enjoy playing for him. He's a great mind, great guy. He's a businessman. He knows what he's doing, and I really believe in him that he's going to turn this program around.
So I can see, just on this call here that you've definitely gotten bigger. You got the football neck going on. You got the traps.
Yeah.
How has the lifting program made you a better athlete?
It's high volume.
Okay.
That's something that I really care about, and it's also a lot of explosive work. So I really wasn't a big hang clean guy, power clean guy at Bald Eagle. It's just you squat, you bench, you have your explosive day, but we never really were taught how to clean. Then I come to college and I learned how to clean, and I feel like that's just elevated my game tremendously. Learning how to clean, becoming more explosive in my hips, just like working on my short range explosiveness, especially as being a linebacker and making tackles. I feel like that's what's really helped me.
Is that what you were doing that one day I ran into you, winter break? Remember I came in?
I was probably doing power high pulls.
Okay.
So that just focuses on your triple extension.
Yep. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So we'll talk a little more about your first game and then rest of the season, and we can let you go, man. I think we're good on the time. So I obviously saw you guys won your first game, and then I was texting you about how you did. So how was the first game? I mean, you can kind of dive into that a little more.
Like we go out there, we score the first two. Post comes out, they turn over the ball twice. We score on both. Fumble recovery for the house, and then pick six. It was just, we started off hot. I made a lot of mistakes. I got to turn it up this week, no doubt. First half, I only played the first half. I didn't play the second half because I went to run out in the second half, and my hamstring locked up. Then I went to stretch it, and my quad locked up. My whole leg started cramping, and they cut me for the rest of the game. I didn't play. Luckily, we won by a lot still, but you watch the film after you win your first game, and you're not satisfied with the scoreboard. You're just satisfied with how did the defense look.
Yeah.
Then you look at the scoreboard and you see we gave up 1 touchdown. We don't want to give up touchdowns, so we want goose eggs. That's what we want. Like we want to shut guys out. We want to prove that we have what it takes to be an elite defense in the PSAC. So a lot of mistakes specifically for me in the first half, but there was also other mistakes that we've been trying to clean up all week, and I feel like we have cleaned up.
Yeah, how you feeling about the rest of the season? I mean, you are a starter on defense, so you're one of those guys that the team is going to be relying on for the performance and get more W's. So, how you feeling about the rest of the season? How do you think you guys are going to match up?
I think we match up a lot better than we did last year.
Yeah.
Coach Mole he brought in a lot of grad transfers, a lot of Division I transfers. We went from having, I think, 4 or 5 seniors last year to 20-some this year. So there's a lot more maturity in the room and a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, a lot of college football, that is. So we're not a young team anymore, and we have depth, which last year, like, we struggled in the depth category. We had a lot of injuries, but this year it's exciting because no one's seen a Lock Haven football team like this before, like with this much energy, with this many seniors, with this much depth. So, like, if there is an injury this season, like, yeah, whatever. Like, how do you handle adversity? You just keep moving forward, and next guy's up. That's just the next guy up mentality. So I feel really good about this season. I think we played awesome offensively, defensively, and special teams last week, and I think that's just going to keep carrying throughout the rest of the season.
Austin, you have anything else?
Yeah, just two final things, and then we'll let you go. But obviously, we are primarily talking Penn State football. Do you have a score prediction for this week's game against the Fighting Blue Hens of Delaware?
Yeah, it's gonna be a blowout. I think Penn State puts up. Let's go. 52-10. 52-10.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Austin, you had what, 56-6 or something?
I had 59-6.
Okay.
Was mine.
Yeah, mine was 66-10. So.
Yeah, so we're all kind of in the same ballpark, but everybody will appreciate that one. Kyler also predicting a big Penn State win against Delaware this weekend. One final thing. Firstly, we appreciate you donating that little bit of free time that you do have as a college athlete to coming on here with us. So thank you very much for that.
No, thank you for having me.
And where can we find you? Social media, and where can we find your games to watch Lock Haven this season?
So to watch Lock Haven, you just go to PSAC Network on Google. Games are free to watch. Just click in on it. So this week we're at Mercyhurst, so it'll show up under Mercyhurst. So you'll just click on Mercyhurst and it'll be right there, Lock Haven versus Mercyhurst, and it'll be live at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And yeah, on social media you can just find me at I'm pretty sure my name on Instagram is Kyler Cunningham _. And then yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
Kyler, you are a Barstool athlete.
Correct.
Would you want to kind of talk a little bit about that, like the NIL side?
Yeah, I mean, that to be a Barstool athlete, like, it's pretty much like they just get you exposure to get NIL deals. That's what the purpose is of being a Barstool athlete. So you sign up for it. Any college athlete can do it, and your name's put in a system where companies or different types of brands can see you, and they can be like, hey, let's see if we can get a deal with this kid. So all your social medias are linked to it, all your email, and then so on.
One last thing, Kyler, and I wanted to kind of end with this, as long as Austin's done too. So another thing that Bald Eagle hasn't seen a lot is professional athletes, guys in the NFL. I think we have one guy that played in the NFL from Bald Eagle. I believe his last name was Eisenhuth. It was spelled like Hooth.
For sure, Steve Eisen.
Right. Is that a goal of yours? Play professionally. It doesn't have to be the NFL. It could be CFL, XFL, whatever.
Right.
Is that something that you would want to do?
I mean, I think everyone has that goal when they go play college football, but you just take it 1 year at a time, see how you're feeling, see where you're at. You have to be honest with yourself at the same time. Like, you have to know whether you can play at that level or not. I'm a redshirt freshman right now at Lock Haven, junior in the classroom. I have a lot of eligibility to go, a lot of years of improvement to have. So, just take it 1 year at a time and you keep going at this point. So I guess you find out down the road. I can't really give you an answer right now.
A humble man. I think you could, man. I think you could play in some level. I think you could play at the next level. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, man, it's good to have you on. Thank you for joining us. Time wise, we're good. So, is there anything else you have for us?
No, just thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Well, you take care.
Pleasure was ours as well.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.